Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Today we will be presenting our topic titled Exploring the Representations of Women's Silence and Defiance in Indonesian Literature. This project is part of the Southeast Asian Literary Anthology. This presentation is prepared by our group, which consists of me, Nur Fatin Nabila, and my friends Nur Alia Khairunisa, Wan Nur Fakihah, Nur Hayati, and Ain Izzati. Together, we will explain our findings and analysis for this topic. For the introductions, we focus on how silence and defiance are shown in Indonesian literature. Silence is often shaped by traditions and patriarchy. Women appear patient, loyal, and self-sacrificing, but sometimes their silence is actually a quiet form of rebellion. Behind this, women show emotional strength and resilience. Silence can symbolize patience and respect, while defiance represents courage, independence, and identity. Now, let's move to the background of Indonesian literature. Understanding the evolutions of women's roles can help us to see how literature reflects the societal changes and women's voices over the time. First, in the classical period, which is centered into 93rd century, women's roles were mostly limited to family and moral duties. They were shown as patient, loyal, and obedient, with little personal voices. Next, in the colonial period, which is late 93rd into mid 23rd century, women started to get educations and write. Literature began showing the ideas about the equality and self-expressions. Next, in the post-colonial period, which is 1950s into 1975, women were often shown as strong and self-sacrificing. They symbolize resilience during the nation struggle. And finally, in the contemporary period, which is 1975 into now, writers questions the patriarchy, explores women's inner conflicts, and highlight about the gender equality. Women are shown as independent and complex individuals. So overall, we can see that women's voices in the literature have grown from the quiet and obedient into strong and independent.
Hi, Assalamualaikum sir and friends. My name is Nur Izzati binti Nur Azan. For my part in this analysis of exploring the representations of women's silence and defiance, I will talk about poem 1, which is Aku by Khairil Anwar. Khairil Anwar was born on 1922 until 1949. He is a prominent poet and one of the best leading figures in the modernist movement in Indonesia. His poetry is known for its boldness, raw emotional expressions, and rebellious spirit. The themes that he used in Aku is rebellion, freedom, and identity. The line that bold his boldness movement is I want to live 1,000 more years. In this line he said loudly that he want to live 1,000 more years, so he need to choose the right person so he can build the life happily. um, Anwar challenged social and existential limits. His bold tone mirrors women's desire to speak and be free, rejects silence as submissions to celebrate individually. The speaker's defiance against death and social constraint mirrors women's fight in voice and agency. Silence, compliance, rele- rebellion, and self-expressions. The second poem, Kepada Kawan in bracket apa guna by Wiji Tukul. Wiji Tukul was born on 1963 until 1998. His career is poet and activist whose work deeply influenced people by social and political change in Indonesia. The theme that he used in this poem, courage versus silence. The line in line 9 say about what is the use of a sweet voice if you're afraid to speak. So this means that women should have courageous to speak louder to protect themselves. Then he also criticized society's acceptance of injustice through silence, advocates for collective defiance and unity, mirrors women's struggle to overcome fear and speak up. Tukul's poem calls for courage and collective defiance, reflects how silence allows injustice to persist for society and for women. So the conclusions for these two poems, uh, both Khairi Anwar and also Wiji Tukul, they speak louder. They become a speaker for women to speak about themselves, to speak about them, about their justice. I think that's all for my part. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum to Sir and to my friends. My name is Nura Alia Khairunisa binti Muhammad Kamaruddin, and today I will be presenting about the third and fourth poem. The third one, which is Perempuan Itu Bernama Ibu by Dorothea Rosa Heliani. So let's look at this poem. This poem focuses on motherhood, hidden pain, and identity loss. This is a very powerful line in the poem, which is she cooks her sadness and prepared love. This line shows how a mother hide her own sadness while still giving love to her family. The mother in this poem hide her sufferings beneath duty and care. On the outside, she looks like a perfect, caring mother, but inside she is hurting. Because of this, silence become her survival strategy. She does not complain. She keep her feeling to herself in order to continue living and serving her family. Through this poem, Heliani give a voice to this unspoken emotion. She speaks for all the mothers who are suffering quietly, whose story are usually not heard. The poem also questions the idea of the perfect woman. Society expects mothers to always be strong, patient, and loving, but never tired and sad. This is unfair and unrealistic. In the end, this poem suggests that silence equals survival. The poetry becomes her voice. Even if the mother cannot speak out in real life, the poem speaks for her and reveals her hidden pain. So move on to the next one. The main theme of this poem is silence and speech as dual resistance. There is an important line which is one remains silent, the others dare to speak. This shows two different ways the woman resists. In the poem, two women represent two paths, which is endurance versus defiance. The woman chooses to stay silent and endure her situation. The other woman speak up and challenge it. Both women are shaped by fear, social rules, and love. Their choices are not simple. They are influenced by what society expect from them and by the people they care about. Importantly, neither woman is weak. Both of them is surviving under patriarchy, just in different way. Silence can be a way to protect themselves, while speaking can be a way to fight back. The poem show that silence and voice can coexist as form of resistance. That sometimes resistance is loud and open, and sometimes is it quiet and hidden. But both are valid. So through this two poem, Haryani reveal women's hidden suffering and their different way to resisting patriarchy. Mother and woman may be silent, but through poetry, their story and emotion finally become visible. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Manu Fakihah binti Wan Azali. Now I will be presenting Pengaruh Keadaan written by Saryamin Ismail, also known as Selassie. In this story, it highlights the theme of social pressure and quiet endurance. In the story, we can see how society expects women to always be patient, obedient, and silent. So these expectations are not just cultural, but also tied to economic dependence, which limits women's ability to fight back or challenge unfair treatment. The protagonist chooses to remain silent, not because she is weak, but because she wants to protect her family. So her silence becomes a form of survival. Even though she hides her pain, her quiet endurance reflects a different kind of strength. So the story shows that silence can sometimes be a woman's only way to survive within an unfair system. For the second short story, I will be presenting Her by Titis Bassino. This story explores themes of identity, polygamy, and quiet resistance. What is unique about this story is that the protagonist is never given a name, so she is referred to only as her. This shows that how her identity has been overshadowed by the circumstances of her marriage. Her silence reflects deep emotional suffering. Instead of openly rebelling, she endures the pain quietly. However, as the story progresses, she begins to regain her confidence through self-awareness and small acts of independence. And these small steps slowly empower her from within. And eventually, her silence transforms into a form of self-empowerment. So the story reminds us that defiance does not always come through loud protest, but sometimes it begins with our inner strength and also realization.
Hi, Assalamualaikum sir and my friends. My name is Norhayati binti Zulkifli, and today I will present my group analysis about how women's silence and defiance are shown in the film Tenggelamnya Kapal When the Witch. The film is based on a novel by the famous Indonesian author which is Hamka and directed by Sunil Soraya. Okay, so this film from 2013 shows strong themes of duty, love, and defiance under Adat, which means tradition. And it also tells the story of Hayati, a woman who is torn between her love for Zainuddin and also her duty to follow her family's traditions. Hayati chooses to obey her family and stay silent and polite. But deep inside her, she still loves Zainuddin, and her silence shows both of her obedience and her hidden protest. Uh, the sinking ship in the story is a strong symbol. It represents the sad ending of women who are forced to stay silent, and it shows how silence can lead to emotional pain and tragedy. As the quote says, her silence speaks louder than words. This means Hayati's silence is not a weakness, but it shows her feelings, her pain, and her quiet strength. Okay, next we move to comparative discussion. Now let's look at how silence and defiance appear in poems, short stories, and films. First, silence can mean two things. Sometimes it is used to control women and stop them from speaking. But sometimes silence is used by women to protect themselves from harm or sadness. Next, defiance means standing up for yourself, and it shows emotional strength, self-awareness, and courage. Women show defiance not always by shouting or fighting, but by being strong inside and not giving up. Each type of story shows a different side of women's struggle to find their own voice. Whether in poetry, short stories, or films, women are always trying to express themselves in a world that tries to silence them. So, in conclusion, in Indonesia literature, silence is not always weakness. It can be a way for women to survive and stay strong. Their silence shows inner power and bravery. Next, we move to our last slide, which is conclusion. In conclusion, Indonesian literature gives a voice to women who have been silenced by culture and life situations. Uh, Through poems, stories, and films, writers show that silence can be strong message, and it is not a sign of a weakness but a way to show dignity and defiance. These works remind us that resistance does not always need to be loud, but sometimes quiet strength is the most powerful. Silence can tell a story of courage, love, and identity that touches the hearts of many. Okay, so I think that's all from our groups. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Bye. Assalamualaikum.